Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Great pleasure and privilege meeting you once again on the topic of pragmatic leadership. So, we have been discussing the chapter 3 in the context of whether the persona can be changed or not. So, can we alter our persona is the topic that we have been discussing. So, one important aspect I thought I will cover today on page number 38. I have spoken about the mechanism of how the human personality is getting created. So it's a bit of a complex subject. Before that, I would like to cover some thoughts on the distinction between the creation. If you look at the role of creation, which only human beings can investigate, because rest of the creations you see, they are all just living based on the way in which the creator has provided certain basic mechanisms and softwares in them. So they all live by instinct. If you look at an animal, it keeps on repeating the basic functionality they have been provided, and then they keep on ruling their life without even being conscious of what is happening in their life. So that's the way they have been designed. So in one of the recent videos, I was just listening to Sadhguru, who has been giving lots of wisdom to the mankind. So he talks about a snail which is crawling in a garden, for example, and then it is trying to figure out that this garden is the entire universe for it. So it cannot be conscious of anything beyond the garden, because for it to crawl from one end of the garden to another end, probably it may take ages. So in his own consciousness, the garden is the universe. So it has no consciousness beyond the garden. In the same way, if you probably take an earthworm, which is born in the soil and lives in the soil and dies in the soil. So we say earthworm is a friend of a farmer, but the earthworm doesn't know about it. So it just got adjusted to live in that condition. And then it lives its life there itself, and then it vanishes. Like the lotus flower born in the water, and it lives in the water and dies in the water, but it never makes a contact with the water. So if you really closely look at the whole creation, you will find that a lot of miracles are happening which we are not very conscious about, because most of the time we are only thinking about ourselves. So that means we are not aware of the self, because we have become selfish. There's a distinction between self and selfish, which I will talk about it in my spirituality topic later. Moving forward, the human beings have been created with lots of expansion of consciousness. That means we are aware of that we are living in a planet Earth, and then there is a planetary system, there is a sun, and there is something called an universe, and multiple universe becomes a cosmos, and we are very keen to know whether there is water in the moon or not. I don't know what is the earthly use of finding it out, except the human arrogance that you can control the whole nature. So basically the human personality has been created, human beings have been created with lots of ability to understand our surroundings, and also try to figure out what way we can make use of these resources around us, and so on and so forth. So essentially the level of understanding of human beings about the surroundings and the nature is much more than any other creation. So that's the point I'm trying to make. So having said that, every human being, when we are born, in the context of scientific way of looking at the human life, so we have started with a clean slate, in the sense that we had no content in our brain. Let us assume that. In the Vedic point of view, it is not true. Basically, we are coming with a package of information from the previous births and reincarnation, etc. I'll talk about it in the topic of spirituality. But in the context of pragmatic leadership, let us assume for the moment that when the child is born, there is no content in its brain. So it was something like a pen drive which doesn't have any information. So subsequently, as the child grows, it grows in an environment where the parents are becoming the first source of information. So the child keeps on getting lots of information bombarded on it by the mother to start with, and then the father and the teacher, and then the societal environment in the place it has born, the country it has born, and so on and so forth. So if you see the mechanism of human development, human personality development, which becomes very unique, starts with bombarding of information. So, like for example, when I was young and I was in the school, they said they are about the planetary system, or they talked about the number of planets in this planetary system, and so on and so forth. And later on they have discovered there is one more planet which we are not able to see before through our telescope. So human beings are constantly trying to see things beyond their five perceptions, perceptive organs basically, and then they try to devise gadgets like a telescope and so on and so forth. That means the human knowledge is slowly expanding, and constantly there are a lot of informations are being bombarded. For example, before Galileo started talking that Earth is not a flat object, it is a globe basically, and people, religious beliefs at that point in time, they didn't want to believe what he is saying. So Galileo was not in a position to take them to the space and show them how the Earth looks like. Unfortunately, there was no gadgets of spaceships and so on those days. The poor fellow was trying to explain the sun is not moving, only Earth is moving, and the sun is stationary, and so on and so forth. So they poked his eyes because he was telling something against their religious beliefs, which felt that if you keep on walking on a flat surface on Earth, at somewhere there is the edge there, and then you will fall down. You can imagine the human beings were so stupid, and then they still find certain things new, and somebody asks certain questions, and later on they start thinking they have become wise, and so on and so forth. So we are not yet wise as we think, because there are so many secrets of nature can never be discovered. So going forward, the various informations which have been bombarded on the human mind as a child, we accepted them on the face value because we had no means of verifying what they are saying is right or wrong. So we kept on accumulating information. The informations are connected with lots of repeated messages like religion, for example. So I was told that I am a Hindu, and then they took me to the various temples and showed me the idol and said this is God, and so on and so forth. So on the face value of the information, I just accepted that I belong to this particular religion. In fact, there is nothing called a religion because it is just a belief. So the information bombarding over a period of time has created what is called a belief. A belief is nothing but an acceptance of an information without any personal experience. That is what is called a belief is all about. For example, none of us has seen God, where He is and what He is, but we have accepted that there is something called God. So we will explore this in greater detail in the subject of spirituality, what the Vedic science is talking about. So going forward, the lots of information has created some kind of a belief. Because we had no means of verifying it. For example, when we went to the physics class, they taught the law of motion, Newton's law of motion, and so on and so forth. So every body will continue to be in a state of rest or motion unless otherwise is acted upon by an external force. We hardly understood anything in the physics class, what the hell it really means. But we mugged it up and then wrote the exam, and then we have passed and got our degrees and so on. So there are lots of such informations have been accepted. So for example, whatever the Newton's law of motion was subsequently challenged by Max when he brought about the concept of nuclear science and particle physics and so on and so forth. So the point I am trying to make is the information creates a belief. So we started blindly accepting certain things that forms our paradigm, the way in which we started looking at the world. That's the reason the world view of every individual is totally different from others. So one believes something, the other believes opposite of that. So that's the reason that the human race is completely divided. So starting from the bombarding of information, repetitive information creates a belief. So belief is a blind faith on somebody who we feel they are authoritarian figures, they are priests or they are parents or the teacher or whoever it is. So we have no personal experience of those matters, but that information has been accepted as our belief. For example, alcohol gives a kind of a relaxation. So honestly speaking, alcohol really destroys your own constitution. But we have started believing that, oh my God, if I have too large, then I have a sense of relief. Smoking gives a kind of manliness and kind of, you have a better way of presenting yourself and so on and so forth. So in the same way, moving forward, information became a belief. Belief started giving you another concept called value. So what is value is nothing but the kind of a belief for which we give lot of importance. For example, there are people value religion. That means religion is the top of their life. That means every decision they are taking will be based on their religious beliefs. There are people who believe that you should amass wealth and then you should keep on running behind it. So all the time they are preoccupied with the money, how to make money. Whether it's the right way or a wrong way, it doesn't matter, but I must try to make money. So the value is nothing but what is that belief for which we are giving importance to. Some people believe that family is the center of my life and everything that I will do for the sake of my family. Some people believe that friendship is the most important aspect, so that means friendship is my value. So you can virtually give value to anything which is good for nothing, or it could be of something which is greatly important to our own self. That means we are deriving power, we are deriving fulfillment out of believing something. That is what value is all about. So, information bombarding leads to belief, belief leads to value. So, these are all in the intrinsic form in our subconscious mind, which we ourselves don't know. So later on what happens, all the manifestation of our behavior that is responding to the various stimuli coming from the rest of the people and the situations. So we try to behave in a particular way. So the behavior is something, is what others could see, that how we are reacting to a particular situation or a stimulation or a kind of interaction from the rest of the human being. So that is what is called behavior. So everyone easily will understand behavior is nothing but how do we see the person reacting. For example, if I am an alcoholic, by 7 o'clock I feel that I have to drop everything and then I should go and have my drink. So that because I value that alcohol is going to give me a sense of relaxation. If I believe that spending time with my family is of paramount importance, and hence whatever may be the priority of work at my office, I will just rush to my home and then spend time with my family. So it's all depends on the value that we carry, the behavior manifests. So manifestation of the behavior is the result of the value. If the value changes, the behavior will change. So the behavior can be dramatically different between one person and another person. For example, if you show him an imported bottle of whiskey, a teetotaler will feel, it's not my cup of tea and hence it doesn't attract him. But the same bottle of whiskey will be attracting a group of people who want to have the fun of drinking and talking together. So that means the object remaining the same, the manifestation of the behavior can be dramatically different. That means the value drives the behavior. And the behavior over a period of time, if you look at the diagram I have shown in page number 38, I have explained the figure number 3.1. If possible, I will reproduce this in the video sometime later. So, conditioning leads to belief, belief leads to values and paradigms, paradigms leads to behaviors, and the set of behavior forms a habit. That's very interesting. That means the group of behavior creates a habit. What is a habit? The moment we say a habit, what comes to our mind is that smoking is a habit, drinking is a habit. But a habit is a negative word in most of our mental framework. We don't think habit can be good also. Getting up early and meditating is also a habit. So, habit could be anything which is good or bad depending upon where it is leading the person to at the end of the day. So, habit formation is the manifestation of the collection of behaviors. So that means, as I mentioned, that after the office, whether one goes to the temple to pray or one goes to the bar for having a liquor, it's a set of habit. So it's very, very interesting and important to see this mechanism of how the basic information is innocently given to a child or by a priest or a parent or an education or by a society. A blank mind is free to accept any information till the age of 7. So that means those informations are not validated or critically examined. So those bombarding of informations can create what is called a belief, a religious belief. Why do we call it as a religious belief? Is because it's a belief. So believing that there is something called a heaven is a belief. So no one has seen the heaven or no one has got the experience of the heaven, but we feel there is something called heaven. So after death we will go to the heaven, but nobody wants to die. So there is a contradictory kind of beliefs are there in the human mind without critically examining them. When you don't want to die, how can you go to the heaven? So is there a hell here? That is why you want to go to the heaven? So can you make your life as a heaven? Is there any possibility? Or I need to conclude that life is a misery and hence I need to go to the heaven? But if so, why are we not willing to accept that life is a misery? We feel the life is a wonderful experience. So we have got a lot of contradictory kind of ideas and paradigms which we have never critically examined because they have been made as a belief even before we could understand them. So once the belief is formed, then the belief leads to a value we give importance to. Whatever belief that we are giving importance to, that becomes a value, and value manifests in the form of a behavior which is an extrinsic aspect of life where others can see where this guy is coming from. So behavior continues and then a collection of behavior becomes a habit. So we are very unconsciously going through this process of habit formation, and going forward I am going to discuss this. That means thinking differently and forming a different habit, what exactly is personality is all about. That means if the process of information can create a habit, so a new set of information can create a new set of habits. Only human beings can do that. I'm sure that this session would have given you some kind of a perspective of the mechanism of formation of habits, which is very critical and important for leadership. Thank you very much. Nice talking to you.